और मेरे प्यारे भाई बहन लोग क्या हाल चाल How is everyone doing today? Welcome to this story explainer where we're going to unpack a brilliant, hilarious and honestly super heartwarming mystery. आज हम इस मजेदार कहानी की एनालिसिस करने वाले हैं. It perfectly captures that classic dynamic between generations and the whole thing revolves around a very special, highly sought after yet completely non-existent medicine.
But before we really get into the thick of it, let me ask you a question directly. Seriously, think about this. क्या आपने कभी अपने दादा या नाना जी की जासूसी की है? Have you ever secretly spied on your grandpa? It sounds completely absurd, right? But hold on to that thought, because today we're breaking down this ultimate cat-and-mouse detective story that starts with a grandson doing exactly that.
All right, let's dive into part 1, the babysitting mission.
So, to really understand this crazy sequence of events, we first need to meet our cast of characters. We've got a young boy named Ravi, whose school holidays have just kicked off. Then there's his mom, Vidya. She's strict, highly anxious, basically running the whole household. And finally, the star of our show, Nanaji, a frail, completely bald grandfather who spends most of his days just chilling in his rocking chair, reading the newspaper literally inches from his nose. Now, the core conflict here starts with Vidya. She is incredibly stressed out. Just imagine her hurriedly sorting through these red, yellow, and green tablets in a saucer for her father. In her frustration, she wishes out loud that someone would invent a magical memory-boosting pill, a pill she actually calls Vitamin M. She desperately wants this fictional Vitamin M to give to older people so they just, remember things better. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth is she treating him almost like a toddler? Well, just a month prior, Nanaji was living happily in his own small, peaceful brick house in the village. It was this idyllic place with a mango tree, so quiet you could literally hear a leaf fall. But then old age really started catching up with him. First, he accidentally took a double dose of his medication because he just forgot he'd already taken it. Then, he went out for a walk and completely forgot the way back home. And finally, the absolute tipping point. He was pottering around his garden late in the evening, slipped, fell, and had to spend the entire night outside because he was all alone. After that scary incident, Vidya locked up his beloved village house and dragged him to live in their tiny, noisy city flat, just for his own safety. So, that sets the stage for part 2, The Great Escape. This brings us right to the inciting incident of our story. Vidya has to leave for work. She gives Ravi these super strict instructions about giving Nanaji his post-lunch medications and explicitly orders Ravi to babysit him. She's like, whatever happens, do not let him go out on his own. It's simply too dangerous in the city. But Nanaji, he's sitting in his rocking chair, seemingly ignoring her completely, but actually, he's already plotting. The second mom leaves, Ravi, trying to be a good little babysitter, offers to play chess or grab the Tamil newspaper. But Nanaji, who, by the way, was a razor-sharp lawyer back in his working days, uses his incredible conversational skills to completely flip the script. He puts on this serious, suspicious face and drops this heavy line on Ravi. Has she told you to keep me here as a prisoner? Boom. He brilliantly manipulates the situation, reminding Ravi that he has managed his own life for 75 years, doing the shopping, the cleaning, the cooking. He guilt-trips Ravi so perfectly that the poor kid, feeling absolutely terrible, stammers out that, no, of course he isn't a prisoner. And Nanaji immediately snaps back. Good, then you have no objection to me going out.
And just like that, Nanaji gears up. He grabs his shiny mahogany cane, the one with the brass eagle head, slaps on a bright yellow cap, tells Ravi he'll be back before he can even set up the chessboard, and just struts right out the door, humming happily. This leaves poor Ravi in a massive dilemma. Think about it. If he goes with Nanaji, Grandpa will be furious. But if he lets him go alone, Mom will be absolutely furious.
Which leads us directly into part 3, Ravi the Secret Agent. What follows next is just pure chaos. Ravi's heart is pounding, he's breathing heavy, and he realizes there is only one logical solution here. He has to become a secret agent. He decides to secretly tail his grandfather through the bustling, horrible city traffic, keeping a safe distance, his eyes completely locked on to that bright yellow cap. But here's the funny thing, Ravi is a terrible spy. Okay, step 1. He crouches behind a bush in a children's park like a clumsy elephant, only to have a little kid ask if he's playing hide and seek. When Ravi shushes him, the kid's mother looms over Ravi, threatening him with her umbrella and yelling at him for scolding her child. Right, on to step 2. He moves to hide behind a banyan tree near some street stalls, but the comb-selling lady and the ribbon-selling lady start screaming at him, thinking this crouching kid is a rival vendor trying to steal their turf. Finally, step 3. Dodging the angry vendors, he dives behind a shiny silver car, just peering through its windows. And from behind that car, Ravi watches in pure shock. I mean, let's look at the contrast here. On the left side, at home, Vijay enforces these strict, boring rules to keep him safe. No going out alone, no sugary tea, definitely no bananas or sweets. But on the right side, out here, Nanaji is completely in his element. Ravi watches his supposedly frail grandpa drink a piping hot cup of sweet, sugary tea from a stall, gobble down 2 whole bananas, and then top the whole thing off with an ice cream, all items strictly banned from his diet at home. Nanaji isn't a frail old man lost in the city. He is out here living his absolute best life.
All right, things are about to get crazy in part 4, the yellow cap twist. So the anxiety isn't over yet. The tension builds as Nanaji suddenly steps right off the pavement. Ravi watches, his heart thudding, as his grandpa dodges heavy, zigzagging city traffic like an absolute pro. Ravi actually squeezes his eyes shut, terrified a car is going to hit him. But when he opens them, Nanaji is safely across and ducks into a barber shop. Ravi waits outside, just sweating in the heat. He gets kicked out of the neighboring ladies' salon while trying to spy, but then he sees it. The yellow cap leaving the barber shop and boarding a city bus. Ravi sprints like an Olympic athlete, jumps onto the moving bus, pushes through the crowded aisle, and spots the yellow cap sitting right in the front row. The man takes the cap off because of the heat, and Ravi freezes. Look at Nanaji ke balu guy. Did Nanaji suddenly sprout hair? Because the man holding the cap has a full head of thick gray hair, but Nanaji is as bald as a tennis ball.
Ravi nervously steps forward to confront him. Guys, it's a total stranger. A stranger wearing the exact same standard white shirt and pajama combo that Grandpa always wears. And the yellow cap? It even has the exact same coffee stain on it. Ravi asks where he got it. The stranger just smiles and explains that a very kind, bald gentleman back in the barber shop saw him sweating and generously gave him this cap to protect him from the heat. Nanaji completely outsmarted him. And that brings us to our final act, Part 5. Who needs vitamin M?
Oh, the panic. Ravi realizes he has been entirely, completely bamboozled. He sprints off that bus. He checks the barber shop. Empty. He checks the park. Empty. He tries to call his mom, but of course can't reach her. His mind is just racing with horrific visions of his grandpa wandering the massive city, lost and confused, while his mother's absolute wrath awaits him at home. He runs all the way back to their flat, absolutely sick to his stomach with worry. But when he bursts through the front door, let's all just take a deep breath. He hears a quiet, very familiar sound. Snoring. He walks into the bedroom, and there is Nanaji, fast asleep in his bed, safe and sound, smelling wonderfully of fresh barbershop shaving cream and ointment. Ravi is so overwhelmed with relief that he basically falls to his knees and hugs his sleeping grandpa, pressing his face against his deeply wrinkled cheeks. He makes a decision right then and there. He will not ask a single question, because if he does, he'd have to admit he was secretly tailing him all day.
Fast forward to the evening. Mom and Dad are home from work. Vijay immediately asks what they did all day. Nanaji calmly replies, "Oh, I had a lovely morning, but I don't know about Ravi. He wasn't even at home." Ravi goes bright red, completely embarrassed that Nanaji knew he wasn't there the whole time. But before Vijay can even scold Ravi, Nanaji pulls out presents. He has a gift for Ravi, one for Vijay, and one for Dad. Vijay is completely confused. She looks at Nanaji and says, "But Papa, Ravi's birthday was 3 months ago." And here, my friends, is where Nanaji delivers the absolute mic drop moment of the entire story. He looks at his daughter very seriously and says, "Have you forgotten I always give gifts to my children on my birthday?" Vidya gasps in horror, runs over to the calendar on the wall, and there it is, circled in bright red ink by her own hand at the beginning of the year, Papa's birthday. Nanaji turns to his son-in-law with a mischievous glint in his eye and says, "Looks like my dear daughter is the one who needs vitamin M. The very pill she wanted to give him for his bad memory is the one she actually needs herself." Just brilliant. But Nanaji isn't quite done yet. Ravi unwraps his gift. What is it? A book titled The Best Detective Stories. Nanaji looks right at Ravi and cheekily tells him that he should really read this to get some good tips on how to be a better detective and, specifically, how to avoid getting fooled when you are secretly tailing someone. Ravi is left completely stunned, just trying to figure out if the twinkle in his grandfather's eye is just an innocent coincidence or pure calculated mischief. And that leaves us with one massive question for today. Was Nanaji just a frail, innocent old man whose memory was slipping? Or was he, from the very beginning, the ultimate cunning mastermind who played his entire family like a fiddle just to enjoy a cup of sweet tea and an ice cream in peace? I know what I believe. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next Story Explainer.